You're listening to the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski,
featuring author, guest, and criminal defense lawyer Laurie Hellis.
Let's go over to BTK and what's going on over there. We've been watching this quite closely. It's been very interesting with Kerry making statements over the last kind of half year or so, kind of hinting that there's something going on here. And now we're seeing exactly what that is with some new investigations going on into the possibility of BTK being involved in other murders. Some of them look pretty interesting that could possibly be connected, but the DA is saying, we need more information, more evidence before we can actually go after a conviction. I'm all for finding more in the BTK saga, if there, in fact, are more. I very much admire Kerry for putting herself out there and the dedication that she has and having to relive this trauma over and over to try and find justice for these individuals. I guess my concern here that I've been seeing lately is this being done for the right reasons? And how solid is the evidence? I know we have the writings, Bad Wash Day. As far as I know, that's really all that's solidly there. They're trying to get some evidence. I just talked with the undersheriff just the other day of Osage County and got an update. But I do question this part. The reality television show that Eddie Virden and the undersheriff Gary Upton are trying to pitch, and they claim they already have a contract on with the CW to air later or early next year, but they want to film it November and October of this year. Has not been approved yet. The timing, honestly, I don't know. The reason to do this is to find justice and bring some closure to those families, not necessarily do a television show. And when you're doing a television show, sometimes it may make things a little more exciting than reality actually has them being.
Well, I think that's an excellent point. I know that show that's being done on CW is a show where they are doing individual episodes about particular cases. So I'm not sure that it is anything more than a single episode about BTK and about the investigation. Mm-hmm. But I agree that the timing probably isn't great. I could see how the authorities that are investigating might see this as an opportunity to get the BTK case back out in front of people again. Mm-hmm. Let's face it, he's been in prison a long time, and it's been sort of not really high in the public's consciousness for quite a while.
Sure.
And I think that, we know that BTK's his crimes spanned 30 years. Mm-hmm. And I think it was always hard to believe that the handful that he was convicted of were his only victims.
Sure.
So I think everyone's always felt like there were more victims out there. He just wasn't giving them up. And I think that's a really common tactic with serial killers is, once they're caught, then they sort of give up their victims a little bit at a time because it keeps the attention on them.
Yeah.
And at heart, they like that attention. So I agree that it should be concerning that there's an episode of a true crime documentary or whatever this thing is out there in the works. But on the other hand, I think that they may see it as an opportunity to raise awareness and to get it out there where the public could say, "Oh, I recognize that barn I see in the mm-hmm. picture," or "I recognize that. I remember that day outside the laundromat." You just never know what might jog someone's memory. So,
without a doubt, it's just a very fine line to cross, and I think that Eddie Virden and I think Gary Upton need to understand that. I know they're very zealous and seem excited about this. Maybe their hearts are in the right place. I haven't talked to Sheriff Virden, but I talked to Gary. He seems like a nice enough, genuine guy. But it does. It's like, when you go down that road, it's very easy when you need something to get attention to try and overdo things a little bit. I even questioned Gary the other day about Eddie playing with the pantyhose on Banfield a couple weeks ago mm-hmm. on camera. I said, mm-hmm. that was very cringeworthy. I said, I've talked to many FBI agents. Everybody's cringing at this, going, this is not how you handle evidence. if you want to be taken seriously, you better watch that, because it just doesn't look good. The optics are not good, even if your heart's in the right place. This is not reality here. It's not a reality show. So, don't treat it like that when you're on a talk show talking about your developments. Talk about the developments. Don't make this a circus, I guess, is something that I think they're really walking a fine line on right there.
You're consuming the Hidden Killers podcast.
Want more? Start binging on all of our true crime podcasts right now through Apple Podcasts and get an ad-free experience when you sign up to be a True Crime Today Premium Plus member exclusively on Apple Podcasts.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast dropping soon.
Press subscribe now.